So the Nonagon is a new classroom design that I came up with last semester while my students were taking a final exam. So what I noticed every day when I would walk into my classroom is that the tables would be arranged in a square. And I knew that they were trying to arrange them in a square so that we could have better dialogue among students. And in the Science 40s, for example, we have a lot of classrooms that are in a rectangle. The problem with a rectangle is someone that's on the far end, on the same side, can't see the other person in their classroom. The other thing with a rectangle is it's difficult because someone is always at the head of the table. And it also doesn't give a space for the professor to really set up and lead the class in a discussion. So my thought was, is there a way that we could approximate a circle and really draw on the benefits of who we are as a Dominican institution? And so I know we usually have classes that are 24 students, and we needed a space for the teacher, the professor. And so that's how I came up with the Nonagon, a 9-sided classroom. One of the unique aspects of the Nonagon is that instead of having the projector on a wall, I put 4 LCD TVs in the center of the room. So the professor has a computer in front of them, and they can write on the computer, and then the students are much closer to the screen. So the farthest you'd be away is 8 feet from what would be probably a 55-inch LCD. The other thing that this would allow us to do in a setup like this is that when you're having dialogue, you would never have to break your line of sight with anybody. We're always engaged with each other. So what comes up a lot of times then is, are there other arrangements that we could move this classroom, or is it locked into just being in a Nonagon? Well, the benefit is the way that it's structured, we can still actually have small group discussion. So every table has 3 students. Those 3 students can form their own small group. Or if you wanted slightly larger groups, we can take those same 6 students, 2 tables, and they can have access to that screen in front of them and control it. So we could have 4 different groups in the classroom all talking or watching different videos simultaneously. And then the final thing I've showcased in this design is to put a really, really long chalkboard, old school chalkboard, up on each wall so that small groups could be doing presentations in the classroom. And I think if we're able to think about this design in a way that really reinforces who we are as a Dominican institution, through learning in community, through working together, through dialoguing with each other and being inspired by the Adrian Dominican tradition, I think it really reinforces who we are in the way in which we learn. So I've shown this design to a number of students, and they're all really enthusiastic about the design. They understand the value of being able to see each other. They see the equality and everyone being on the same level. They get really excited that there are power outlets at each station so everyone can plug in their devices. And that even being so close to the screen, because a lot of times when you're in the classroom and you're squinting to see the screen, that wouldn't happen in this one.
This is just kind of a revolutionary classroom. It's something that opens up new doors for discussion, new doors for different studies, different case studies of how it affects test scores, and ways in which we can make students discuss more during classes, discuss issues, discuss concepts, discuss philosophy, theology, whatever it might be.
So it's called the Nonagon, but I think it'll end up being called the Nona, which would be a little short, and Nona is Italian for grandmother, and St. Catherine of Siena was Italian, and more than likely she had a grandmother, and so why don't we say let's go to Nona's room, right? So the Nonagon, a new way of thinking about learning.